For the webinar, you should have received the email link and you're logged in. Looks like we've got about 150 people that are currently registered watching the webinar. There is a section for questions in the tool of the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar tool where you can type in questions. I will be taking some breaks to go through when it's appropriate to take a break and answer those questions. And also, again, this is being recorded. It will be be distributed out to everyone that's attended the webinar and registered. Set up if you're a shopper or if you're getting carts assigned to you for approval, your user ID will be your email address. And so you'll enter your email address, and everyone's initial password was set to password. As soon as you enter your password, it will prompt you to change your password. So you'll have to reset your password after you log in. And I'll show you how to go in and where you should set up on your profile a password hint question in case down the road, if you're going to just do a few carts each month and you take a month off and then you forget your password. If you set up a password hint question, then you'll be able to get emailed a link that'll let you log in. One of the things on the Team Georgia Marketplace site where we'll go is there's a link on there to register yourself. You do not need to register yourself. Each of you, if you've taken the training and if you're the purchasing people or the administration people at your college want you to have a shopper ID, then they will provide that with you. Because there's also some training that you'll need to, most of you have already taken, so you don't want to register yourself. You just want to go and use the user ID that you've been provided from your purchasing department. So as we'll go through this first section of the webinar, so the webinar is scheduled for 2 hours, but if you're just a shopper or if you're just getting carts assigned to you, you will not need to attend the entire webinar. That part takes usually about 30 to 45 minutes to go through how to create a cart. And after that, you will not need to stay on for the rest, which is for mainly for the purchasing department and for people that are also going to be what are called requesters in the application. So we're going to walk through how to create a cart, doing what's called a hosted and punch-out items from statewide contracts. So we'll go through how to create a cart for that, and then next we'll walk through creating a cart for non-catalog items or things that are not on statewide contract or they're not items that are in the catalog. And we'll walk through how to do a cart for that, how to add comments and attachments to carts, and then also how you will take your cart and get your supervisor's approval on that purchasing request. And then again, there will be quick reference guides distributed to everyone who is going to create carts. So the first thing I'm going to do is log into the application. The user ID I'm going to be using is just called State Shopper. And so when you log into the Team Georgia Marketplace site, you'll notice that I'm in a training environment. So this is not actually all of the statewide contracted items that are out there. This is just a training environment. But you will see the different punch-out links, and you'll see hosted content and different links for the statewide contract suppliers. When you log into the application, one of the things you want to do up at the top, if you click on your name and you click on View My Profile, this is where, and then you click on your username, phone number. This is where you'll see your name and your phone number listed, as well as your email address. Down at the bottom of that, there is a place where you can define your own security question. So this is for your password hint question. So for example, if you want to use one of these questions or if you want to define your own question, you can choose that as well. And it will prompt you to enter your question and then enter your your answer and then confirm your answer. So just typical to what you see on most sites when you get set up to be able to reset your own password. So that's just some of your own personal access that you have to maintain your information. So once you have confirmed that we've got the right phone number for you and your email address is correct, then basically you can start shopping. So to start shopping, you click on the home link, and the first example that I'm going to do is to go and place an order for an office supply. Okay. Any of the quick reference guides, again, there's a link to the quick reference guides on this page by clicking on the quick reference guides. If you want to find out want to see a list of all of the statewide contracts, you can click on the contracts link, and you can just you can search for a supplier or a keyword and click search, and it'll bring back a list of all of the statewide contracts that are out there. Click back on my home page. So I'm going to go into OfficeMax and do an order for an office supply. So I'm going to punch out, and you'll notice I'm going to go from Team Georgia Marketplace. It'll actually take me to the OfficeMax website. So the first time you come to the OfficeMax website, it will ask you to create your profile on their site as well. So just ask some questions about like your internal delivery, your delivery address, and your phone number and email as well. And you'll just have to do that one time when you go to the OfficeMax site. And after you've created that account on OfficeMax, and different suppliers will have different things as you go to them, different questions, because they're basically just confirming that you're a state of Georgia employee and that you should be accessing this site. So you'll want to start with creating a new order. And you can go through, you can browse by the categories of things that are on contract, or if you know your product number, you can enter it in the search field, or you can just enter in a description of what you want to order. For example, I'm going to do blue gel pens. And then I click on search. And just like any normal shopping site, it will bring me back a list of all of the items that have those keywords. I then enter the quantity that I want to order, and I click Add to Cart. And you'll notice up at the top that then my cart will get updated with the number of rows that I have and my total amount of my cart. I then can also do another search. For example, if I want to search for file folders, and I'm going to choose Manila file folders. And I'll go ahead and just add 3 boxes of those to my cart. So you just continue to fill up your cart with the items that you want. Each of the sites have different functionality. For example, if this is something I know that I'm going to be ordering many times, I can, from the checkout page, I can make it one of my favorite items, or I can create what's called a shopping list. That will save those items over on the OfficeMax site so that I don't have to search for them each time, and they would be in my shopping list. But each one of the suppliers is going to have a little bit of different functionality over on their site. So once I've checked out, it's taken the items from the OfficeMax site and brought them back into Team Georgia Marketplace into my shopping cart. This name of this cart is always going to have the date and then your user ID in the name of the cart, and I'm going to show you just in a second of where you can describe your cart, which will help you identify your cart more easily if you want to check on the status of your cart. So you'll see the 2 items that I've got. I'll click on Proceed to Checkout, and this tells me basically as a shopper I can add comments or attachments at this point, or I can go ahead and assign my cart to my supervisor. Well, let's just say that I want to go in and want to put a description of my cart. So from the summary page on the requisition, I click Edit, and that opens up the description field. For example, I'm just going to call this my office supply cart. And then I can put in comments. So these comments are just passed from the cart. They'll end up passing over to what's called the PeopleSoft requisition and eventually on the purchase order. And then I just click Save. So you'll notice that the comments that I put in on that page show up on the cart. And I'm going to show you on a non-catalog order how to add an attachment. Since this is just an office supply order, typically there's not attachments for that. So once I've created the cart, I then click on the Assign Cart. And so the Assign Cart is where you are basically taking your cart and passing this cart onto your supervisor or the person that should approve your cart before it moves forward in the procurement process. So most of you will come to this page and you'll already see the person who should approve your carts in this list. And it'll have Assign Cart to and it will have their name. Also, you may have special circumstances. For example, some of you may have the process that if it's an office supply order, it needs to go to someone else, or it's an IT purchase, it needs to go to someone else before it goes to your supervisor or goes to your purchasing person to pull it in to place the order. So then you'll have this select from profile value, and you'll see a list of people that you can take the cart and assign it to. And so we've predefined those for you based off of some security setup that we did before your go live. So if you have any problems with who your cart should be assigned to, or if you don't have anyone in that list, then you'll contact your purchasing department and they'll get you set up with the appropriate person that you should assign your cart to. And then this field for note to assignee, it's not a required field, but it's basically just a note that's going to be, it will save it on the cart in the comment section, and it will also be included in the email that gets sent to the person that you're assigning the cart to. And then so once you've entered in a note, you just click Assign. And it'll send you a confirmation that your cart has been assigned, and this page just comes up and says, congratulations, your cart was assigned. And there's some comments in there about how you can find the cart. Like, let's say you forgot to add an item to it and you needed to go back in and assign it, go back into it. There's some notes on here on how to do that. But you can always just come to your carts and look at your draft shopping carts, and you'll see a list of all of your carts and who they're currently assigned to at this point, the date they were created, the amount, and then who they're currently assigned to. So if you needed to pull it back for any reason, you could unassign a cart and bring it back in and make changes to it. Of course, once that cart has been processed and pulled over into the purchasing application, you would not be able to edit that cart. You would need to contact your purchasing department once it's already been processed. Also on this page, on the shopping cart page, is where you can assign a substitute. So if you know that you're going to be out of the office and you need someone else that you're authorizing to approve the carts while you're out, you can come in and assign a substitute. And this lets you search for the person and add them to the page, and then you say how long that person will be your substitute. And so once that date ends, it'll come back. So basically, when someone assigns a cart to you, it will reroute that cart to the other person for approval. So that's how you enter a cart for a statewide contract item. The next exercise I'm going to go through is how to create a cart for a non-statewide contract or a non-catalog item. And before I do that, I'm just going to check for questions. So one question was any quick reference or a PDF or how-to instructions. Yes, again, this is being recorded. It will be put out. You'll receive the link of where this is being recorded, and there's also quick reference guides that walk you through how to create a cart. And I did get a question from Mr. Pageant. You had some questions about your ordering from Sherwin-Williams. Pretty detailed question about that. I would say you need to talk to someone in your purchasing department about that. I don't want to tell you incorrect. The Team Georgia Marketplace is for where you shop online, is where anything that's on statewide contract. But they'll be able to tell you specifically about your type of purchases. One question we have is on the summary tab, the comments for just the comments on the note to assignee comments do not go over to the purchase order. Just the requisition comments, not the notes. And there's a question about 3 carts with the exact same name. The cart names will be the same. Each time you take a cart and you assign it to someone, it starts that numbering process back over. That's why it's a good idea to put a description of your cart in there. Next question is, if you assign a cart to someone else, does it immediately leave your draft carts and goes to the newly assigned person? Yes, it leaves your draft carts. As you can see, it's still in you can still view those carts, but they're in a status of draft carts that are assigned to other people. And they receive an email notification as soon as you take that cart and you click that assign button and assign it to that person and click OK, it sends who you assign that cart to an email notification. Tommy, you were asking a question about doing something for Granger. Granger's not in this training environment, so I won't be able to do all of their items in this training environment. The cart description is not on this page, so they cannot see their cart description on this page, but if you want to see what's in the cart, you just click on this little printer box and it launches. It shows you everything that was on the cart, including the cart description. So anytime you want to see your carts and what was on them, you just click on that button and it pops up with a little window of everything that was on that cart. Let's see, Mr. Wright, you've got a question about that you use vendors that are not on statewide contract. If it's a mandatory statewide contract, under the procurement rules, you do have to use them if that item's available from them. Some contracts are convenience, but mandatory state contracts do have to be, in the order of precedence, they do have to be ordered from the statewide vendors. And Mr. Kroppheimer had a question about travel, hotels, all of that. That would be a question for your procurement department. I'm not sure if they're going to have you do carts for your travel or not. That's usually something that's specific to the colleges, whether or not they use some form that they're already using, or if they use this system for that. I got a question about what items are available. All of whether or not only contracted items or non-contracted items are available, that actually varies by the type of contract. Some contracts, I'll give you kind of just an example. Is there may be, let's say, one supplier was awarded certain items, then that other supplier is not allowed to show those items in their contract if it's a mandatory contract. But if no other supplier provides that type of item, then it's usually available on their site. So if there's, but they can't show an item that someone else has specifically under contract. Yeah, Mr. Wright, I can't get into questions. If you've got some questions about a specific contract and pricing and things like that, you'll need to talk to your purchasing department about that. And this project is about how to use the system and how to do the carts, not for what the negotiated prices are for contracts. Are there any other questions on how to do a cart for a statewide contracted item? All right, I'm going to go ahead then and create a cart for a non-catalog item. So this would be something that's not on statewide contract and not available through the catalogs. So again, from the SciQuest application or the Team Georgia Marketplace, I use that word. The SciQuest is actually the company that built the website, but we call it Team Georgia Marketplace. You'll still come to the home site, home link, and there's a link right in the middle called a non-catalog item. So you click on the non-catalog item, and it'll ask you first to enter the supplier. So in this application, we do not have all of the vendors that are that we do business with, or the entire state of Georgia does business with. We only have in this application the suppliers that are statewide contract suppliers, because they provide us, we have contracts and they provide us items and things like that. So when you're ordering something from another supplier, you'll start by putting in best vendor. And I'm going to show you in the comments field of where you'll need to put in. If you know who you're going to order it from, then I'll show you where you're going to put that in the comments section so that your purchase order gets placed to the correct vendor. So you pick best vendor, and then you put in your description. You've got a 254-character description for this, but there is a place where you can put in an attachment, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in a description that I need to have a fence repair. The catalog number would be NA or none, not applicable. And I'm just going to put in a quantity of 1, and right now, let's just say that I got an estimate already for $2,000. And I can just leave the packaging right now with each. And then I click on Save and Close. I can continue to, and you'll notice that my cart gets the 2,000 in. So if I have more items to add, I just click on Non-Catalog Item and continue to add items to the cart. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just process this cart. So I'm just going to click on the cart and then click on Checkout. And I'm back to this requisition summary page. So again, I'll click on, from this general section, I'll click on Edit, and this is where I can put in my description. Put in my comments. Click on Save. All that's done is just put my comments in this section on the cart. And then let's say that I got a few quotes from some suppliers. I can then just come to my attachments for this request and click on Add Attachment. This is just going to browse my desktop for if I've got a PDF or a Word document or whatever file I needed to attach to this request. So I just go out to my document and click on the file, open it up. I can give it a file name. Click on Save. If I've got multiple quotes or multiple items that I want to add to the attachment, I just continue to click Add Attachment. Some people, if you've got 5 or 6 files and you want to zip them up, you can add a zipped file to the requisition as well. So if I have more attachments, I just keep clicking Add Attachment and upload them onto the cart. So once I'm done adding my comments and my attachments, oh, I'm sorry, I needed to say, all right, let's say that I got 3 quotes and the lowest was from a particular supplier. I can put that, I can put that in this comment section. Some of you have requirements from your purchasing department where you know specifically where this cart needs to go against your budget. So, for example, you know the fund source, or you know the department that it needs to hit. That as well would go into the comments on this cart. So all of that information goes into the comments, and you would just put all of that in the comments section. Some of you may not know exactly what departments and what funds your purchases are going to come from. So it's really that's more specific to the college of whether or not they want you to put that information in your comments. So once you've completed the comments and the attachments, then you'll just click on Assign Cart. It will have who your default cart assignee is, and then you'll just put in the note. And again, some people will not have a preferred person automatically, and so from this drop-down list, you'll have the list of people that you can select. And then once you're done entering the notes, you click Assign. And again, so now that's moved it to your draft carts that are assigned to other people, and it sent the approver a notification that they've got another cart for them to approve. Okay. Are there any questions on how to do a cart for a non-catalog item? There was a question that I missed earlier from Mr. Pickleton. The question was, how long can I see my carts? Your carts will be out there for several years. We have not started any kind of archiving process of any carts, so you'll always be able to see any carts that once they've been approved and processed, you'll be able to go to, there's a section where you can come in underneath this orders and documents and click search documents. And once your carts have been pulled in and processed, you're able to search and see a list of every order that you've ever entered in. And it just brings up the list of all of the requisitions, and you'll actually see your statewide contract POs in this list as well. And I don't see any other questions that have come in. I don't see any other questions that have come in. Okay. So that's how you enter a cart for a, oops, there we go. Can we add multiple vendors to one cart? You can do that. Most of the colleges don't want, they want one cart per vendor. It's a little more complicated for them to process because they have to take the specific lines and pull them over at one time. But it does have the ability to do that in the system. And then there was one other question I think we missed. It says, how do we do purchasing card reconciliation? From Mr. Wilson, we will do a P-card webinar outside of this webinar. This is just the one for shoppers. So once your P-card transactions load into the application, you will get an invitation to do a webinar on P-card reconciliation. Okay. All right, so I've gone into the state shopper and I've created a couple carts and I've assigned them to my approver. So I'm going to go ahead and log out as a state shopper. So from this drop down, I just choose log out, and then I'm going to log in as the approver. So again, I've gotten email notifications that have told me that I've had carts assigned to me, and now I'm going to review those carts and assign them to the requester to pull into the PeopleSoft application. Okay, so when I get carts assigned to me and I log in, again, you'll need to change your password and make sure that your phone number and email address are correct on your profile, and also you're going to want to come in and make sure you set up your password hint question as well. And you'll see once you log in, underneath the action items, you'll see a number. And so if you have a red number there and you click on action items, you'll have different links here. And the ones that's going to show you that you've got carts assigned, or you'll click on the carts assigned to me. And that will show you a list of all of the draft carts that are currently have been assigned to you. Okay, the shopping cart name doesn't give you a lot of information besides the date that they did it and who the shopper was. but that cart description is going to show you, should tell you pretty much what's in the cart. Okay. You do have the ability to delete a cart, but you really, and it'll ask you why you want to delete it. Most of the time, if you need something changed on the cart, then I'll show you once you get the cart pulled up how you can assign it back to the shopper if they're missing some information. But when you're ready to work the carts and take a look at the carts, you need to make that cart your active cart. And you do that just by clicking on the cart. It'll turn blue, and you'll notice up at the top the amount for that cart comes in, and that now becomes your active cart. And so you just click on the cart name, and then it opens up the cart. And this is where you can see the items that are out there. You then at this point proceed to checkout. If you notice that or you want to add a comment to this, you just click on Edit. You can add to the comments. You can save. You'll also have the ability to add any attachments that you need to. And one thing you'll notice about anything that happens to a cart, any change that's made on the cart, any comment added, any attachment added, if you click on this History tab, it's going to show you everything that happened on the cart. For example, this shows you the user and the date and time that they added the items, they punched out, that they put in the description, they added a comment, then you came in and modified that comment. It went from this value to this value. Anytime when the cart got assigned, the notes are going to have the notes that were in the note to assignee. That's all kept in the history of the cart. Okay, and then when it got so example, this requisition got assigned from the shopper to me as the approver. And so it's always going to have all of that kept on the history of the cart. Even after it's been approved and brought into the procurement application, the history will be maintained on the cart. So if I come back to the requisition, I then will click Assign Cart. And you'll notice now that I have this T. Hudson 02 is going to be what's called my PeopleSoft requester. So they're going to be, it's not always, but typically that's going to be someone in your purchasing department that's going to take this cart and pull it into the purchasing application, which is PeopleSoft, and create a requisition, and then it'll go through an approval process and a purchase order will be created. Okay? So each of you may have different rules. You may have specific rules around, for example, if you have a purchase over a certain dollar threshold. I know one college has one, if it's over $5,000, it needs to go through the president. Okay? So there are not rules like that built into this application. However, you will have that person in your drop-down list to where you could route that particular cart to them for approval. Okay? So if you have very specific rules, and your purchasing department can provide you those types of rules. So if usually the supervisors get the carts assigned to them, and if it's over a certain dollar amount, it might need to go to someone else for approval. And then they'll take the cart and assign it to the purchasing department once they've authorized the purchase. So again, I'll just put in my note. And then I click Assign. You'll notice now when I go to my action items, it changes to 4. I now have 4 carts assigned to me. I can take the next cart, which was the fence request, and take a look at the cart. All right, let's say that they forgot an attachment, or you want the shopper to make a change on the cart. You can click on the Return Cart, and it'll send the cart basically back to the shopper, and you can include a note of why you're returning that cart to them. and it'll basically take it out of your assigned cart and reassign that cart back to them. And it'll also send them a notification when the cart's been assigned to them as well. Once they make the changes to it, or maybe they're just going to delete the cart, or they make the changes, they can reassign it back to you for approval. Okay, so that's just how you send a cart basically back to a shopper. At this point, then you'll proceed to checkout. You've got your comments and attachments. You assign the cart. You can enter a note and assign it. And then that just reduces your items, your action items that you've now got, or the carts that you have assigned to you. So there are any questions on if you get carts assigned to you and how to assign them to someone else for approval? Grace, can you send me a test question just to make sure that the questions are still coming through? Mr. Rogers, you had a question that said, can you see a list? Can you see a list as an approver? Are you asking about the a list of all of your carts that you have assigned to you? That would be under, if you went into carts and then under your action items is where you will see a list of all of the carts that are currently assigned to you. Not sure if that answered your question, but go ahead and type another one if you've got one. We did have a question that says, as a shopper, can you save a shopping list similar to what we previously used with staples and other items that are regularly purchased? You can do that in the supplier's website, yes. So if you have some favorite items and things like that out on the supplier's website, you can create your favorites list out there. Good question, Mr. Eason, about if you are just a shopper, you can, if you've got no other questions, that's all I'm going to go through for shoppers that are going to enter carts. So you can leave the webinar now if you're just going to enter carts. I think I did answer your question, Tanya, about tracking the approvals in the system. And you can export all of that history. Okay. Let's see, it says, another one we got, it says you have 20 items you normally would purchase from the same local vendor. Using Georgia Marketplace, you find each of these small items is cheaper. Again, if it is a mandatory, if it is on a statewide contract, if it's a mandatory contract, then you do have to order it from the supplier. The office supply order is actually a convenience contract at this point in time. And if you go look at the list of statewide contracts in the production environment, you can see which ones are mandatory and which ones are convenience contracts. The history section, does the export to CSV work? It does. It will ask you to download the file, and you save the file to your computer. But you can download the CSV file. Oh, and a good question that Tipsy had about if you know the catalog number. So on a non-catalog form, if you do have the catalog number, yes, you can put it in the so if it's something that's not on statewide contract and you know the item number, you do want to put that in the item number field, and that way when the vendor gets the PO, they'll have the product number. And no, it will not. It won't mess up anything on the PeopleSoft application at all. It'll just pass over to the what's called the vendor item ID. Did have a question about when does this go into effect. I won't say who it is. We did go live today. So when you have something to order, you should, if you've taken the training class, you should have gotten a user ID and password sent to you. So you might want to check with your purchasing department if you did not receive that information. The go live was today. Just going through all the questions and making sure I got them all. Okay, that's all the questions we've got in there. So if there are no more questions, the next piece of the webinar that I'm going to go through are for the people that have taken the ePro for Requesters class and and we're going to take these carts that have been assigned to the PeopleSoft requester and pull them into the as a requisition in PeopleSoft. So if you are a shopper or you're just getting the carts assigned to you, there's no reason for you to stay on the webinar. Of course, you're welcome to watch, but again, this webinar has been recorded. We'll cut it off at this point and have this file out there, and then as we go through the requester and the buyer piece as well, they're being recorded and they'll be made available to you as well.